My name is Stefano Albertini. I'm the director of the Casa. It's my great pleasure to welcome you all here for this special screening of Papa and Dada, a documentary written and directed by Daniela Ambrosoli. We're doing this tonight. We showed this because we recognize many new faces, so you're twice welcome, and we hope this gave you a sense of what happens here every day of the year. We organize more than 100 events every year. They're all free and open to the public, and we just started having events especially for children, so we're all invited, also for those. Just take a look at our website and decide what is good for you and what is interesting to you. Tonight we have a very special evening with the screening of this documentary that comes to us as a proposal from AIRI, that is the International Association of Researchers, Italian researchers all over the world, AIRI. We've been doing things with them for quite a long time, and today we finally have a public event that comes to you brought by this group of very prominent scientists that are active here in the city of New York. We have the fortune of having with us the filmmaker, the author, the director, Daniela Ambrosoli, who is here with us, and she's going to be involved in a conversation with Mark Shaw at the end of the screening, so please stay with us for the Q&A after the screening. But before we start with the film, I'm going to ask Giulia Mezzadri of AIRI to present her greetings. Giulia.
Thank you. So, hi everyone, welcome. I'm very, very pleased to be here tonight to introduce this special event, this New York premiere of Papa and Dada, a documentary about families in love that has been awarded with 16 laureates. As a queer person, you might have guessed from the shirt, or not. I know that it's very, very important, representation. Representation is very, very important. And when I was growing up, I didn't have a lot of examples. And it's hard to craft your own identity and to find your own path when you don't have a lot of examples. So, of course, today, there are many, many examples, way more than 15 years ago. But when it comes to queer couples having kids, the representation is still very, very limited. Also because of practical reasons, because in a lot of European countries or in states in the United States, there are adoption or assisted fertility technologies, reproductive technologies are not allowed yet. So this documentary is even more important because it shows that it's possible to have, for queer couples, to build happy families, and queer couple can aspire to that if they want to, of course. So I'm very, very, pleased to introduce this event. I'm gonna be very brief. I just wanted to thank Casa Italiana, Giulia, and Stefano for hosting us and helping putting together this event. I want to thank the director and Mark, and also all the families that are going to be here. Stick around until the end, because there's going to be a Q&A with them. And then I'm just going to say a few words about AIRI. We are an association of Italian researchers, and our mission is to build and provide opportunities and a sense of community for Italian researchers through a series of events, cultural, social, recreational, and educational like this one. And you can follow us on the main platforms. Thank you.
Before we go, we prefer to talk about the film after you see it, but I would like to ask Daniela Ambrosoli, the director and writer of the film, to please stand. Thank you, Daniela. And she and Mark and our beautiful family here are going to be with us for the Q&A. Stay with us. Please welcome to the stage the director and writer of the documentary, Daniela Ambrosoli. And Daniela is going to be with Max, please. Mark, sorry, yeah. Mark. And Mark is a photographer and a cinematographer himself. And I understand we also have the fortune of having John, and John And Santino and Giovanni, are you going to go on the stage too? Please go. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you to everyone for coming. What a gorgeous room full of lovely people. If you excuse me 1 second, I have to take a picture.
The photographer in you.
Yes. Lovely. Thank you so much for coming. I also want to thank, excuse me, I just want to make sure that I get the pronunciations correct here. Stefano, who's the director here at Casa Italiana. Thank you so much for your lovely introductions. Thank you to Giulia for your introduction as well from AIRIcerca. One who's not here, Giulio Formenteri. And also thank you to our projectionist, Julian Sachs. Thank you, Julian. And most of all, I want to thank you, Daniela, for the immense gift that you gave to me to invite me into your family and asking me to help shoot this heartwarming story that we just saw. And the entire process was like a magic gift. I just want to say thank you very much. And also thank you to John and John, Santino and Gio for inviting us into your family too. It must be strange to see yourself so young, I'm sure. But now let's open the floor to any questions you have. Just wait for the mic so we can hear you. And if anyone has anything that they want to ask, we're here. Any questions? Yes? No? Maybe? Raise your hand.
Well, here, I'll get you guys started. So how was it for you to, or you four, I guess, to have a cameraman come into the house? And Daniela, how was it to ask them to be part of their family? And how did you manage the balance of when you were there, when you weren't there, and when it was a good time, bad time? And how long was the process?
The process of doing this film was 3 years. And I knew John since he was a teenager, because in Switzerland I run a foundation who supports dancers, and John was a scholarship taker. We met, you were 16, I think. So it's quite a long time. And knowing John, I shoot before Papa and Dada. I shoot a film. It's called a documentary, The Making of a Dream, and it's about the life of dancers, how difficult it is to become such a famous dancer as John is, and he was the main protagonist. And shooting this film in 2016, I got to know all the family, to come in their house. And first of all, I would like to thank you again to have been all the time so open and open house and helping with everything. You were always there when we need you, and so open to tell your story. I remember I wrote to you from Switzerland, and I said, would you agree to be part of this film? Would you like to tell your story? And you said, we are an open book. And it is like this.
Why don't you guys talk about the experience?
I'll just say that Daniela and everybody that was involved in the filming, there was sound people, there was people with the videos, there was photographers, and everybody was just wonderful. And it made it very easy because they did come at strange times, including one very, very early morning. There was the shot where we got up in the morning, and it was pitch dark when they came in. And we have a neighborhood that they keep an eye out for things. And so while they were there, right after they came in, about 10 minutes later, there was a knock on the front door, and it was the police department, which interrupted things for a little while. But they made the process very easy to get suited up with all the microphones and all the things that they did, and it went off without a hitch.
I mean, Danielle and I have had quite a history, and she has given such a beautiful platform for me as a young boy, as a dancer, and to invite her to give our family and many other families a platform to authentically show that we are no different than anyone else is, I think, a very powerful, special message. And the team was so generous in just being so kind to our family, because it's hard when you're trying to expose something so raw and so real under a lens versus something that's scripted. Nothing was scripted at all. So it was a very beautiful film, and we're all very proud to be part of it. But I'll let these boys talk how they feel about it.
I feel good and
What was it like seeing yourself on the screen?
cool and I remember in the film when I had like this stuffy and I like kicked it down the stairs. I literally saw like this photographer in the closet and like looking at me, and I didn't know what was happening, so I just kicked it.
Santina?
It felt weird, and I didn't really remember seeing anything. So I don't really remember a lot of it. So it was kind of weird to be on the movie that I didn't even know about.
Why don't you tell them what you told that?
I thought that when I was like really little, when I first saw it and my dad was telling me about it, I thought that they had secret cameras looking at us, and none of us didn't even know, and they were just looking at us.
Any other questions? Yes. Grab the mic.
Thanks. First, it was a extremely moving and beautiful portrait of family and love, and thank you all for that. I have a question for Daniela, primarily, and perhaps everybody. I'm curious about the process. Specifically, did you have a vision for how you wanted to integrate the storybook elements? Did you have a vision for how that would evolve, or did that evolve during the making? And also, were there any moments where something really magical happened that you felt, oh, that is now a defining element of your vision for the film?
From the beginning, I wanted to mix different styles, things, like the animation, like the ballet, and also this Swiss director who speaks about this film, because I took this part speaking in Swiss German is from another film from this director. And I'm not sure if I understood your question about the special moment, but for me, the moment I like more of all is when they are sitting at the table. John, his, I don't remember, is your cousin or the man who? Godfather of Santino? No, Johnny. Anyway, we're speaking about their homosexuality. Is the moment in the film I found great.
Thank you.
There were a lot of magical moments that, just from the dialogue for me, that were just kind of like when it happened, it really lit up the room. Demis Volpi, who's the choreographer, we filmed in Berlin, and his concise explanation of love and that it can't be something that's dictated or somehow learned from, a storybook story or like influencing, people to be a way or another way. I thought it was just one of the most magical things. And it was great that he was able to share that with us. Any other questions?
Well, I think it's a wonderful story of love and family. And I was wondering, it's such a marvelous film, if you have entered it into many festivals, because I think this really requires and deserves a really wide audience.
Thank you so much for your words. And yes, the film has won many prizes and has been to many festivals. He has been also bought by the Japanese television as well as the German television. And here in the States you can see the film through the decor.
If you search on Amazon for Papa and Dada film, you'll get a link to a streaming site called Dekko, D-E-K-K-O, that gives you access in case you want to share it with anyone. And we would love that if you'd like to share the story. We're still looking at other venues. This was really great, and thank you again to Casa Italiana, AIRIcerca for the sponsorship and being able to show the film here. It's just been a real blessing, and thank you to this audience. He has a follow-up question, I think.
Will it be on YouTube?
That I don't think so, because it's actually a paid streaming situation. So sorry, I don't think it's going to be out there for free on YouTube. That really depends on the distribution.
It has a distributor, the film.
Yeah, there is a distributor involved who's essentially selling it to other markets as well. So it's a little bit of a tricky situation. But I agree with you. It's a story that deserves as broad an audience as possible. But mostly, thank you all for being here tonight and for engaging with this lovely story. Each and every one of you. I can't thank you enough for being here. Please. Do we have any other questions? Oh, one question?
Oh, there's another one there.
Hey Stefano, hey Gio. Do you two remember the King and King story? And what did you two think about it being made into the ballet dance?
I thought that it was interesting how, like, the pictures and how they wrote it. When my dad read it to me, I thought it was just a normal story about two kings or princes that were just getting married. And I have read it again and again, and I finally noticed that it was just like my family now.
I really like the story, and I'm pretty sure we still have it. So, and then I was really surprised that that story became a play. So it was really interesting to see it on the screen.
Oh, and I just wanted to add that I'm hoping for John Dada, yes, that your family starts to recognize that this is a normal family dynamic and it kind of settles for them a bit better.
Yes, I'm hoping for that as well. I think we hope that for all cultures, but it's still a learning curve for my family. But I think that what I can only do is to continue to live authentic life, and for them to witness it, and they will have to figure out how to manage how to be part of it or not. But I always keep the door open and keep everything open, because essentially it's about our children, for the future and how they embrace everything.
You are a beautiful family.
Thank you. Thank you.
I wanted to know how the boys feel about having a baby sister.
Who said that?
I'll get you later.
I would not want one because they would just like sit around and play with their dolls, and while I'm just playing in the backyard playing soccer, and they're just kind of boring.
I feel like I don't want a sister after I have a brother, and he's enough to deal with. So, but on the good side, I would have actually a person to play with.
Okay. We should have a film just for the kids. They should do.
Any other questions?
Oh, she's been waiting for a while.
Hello. Okay.
Hi, I want to thank you and all of you for this beautiful film, filled with love and beauty. And you have a wonderful family. They're all really handsome. And I'm wondering if you're doing anything with education of any kind, like in the school system or, something, more out there to just educate people about life and.
We are unbelievably fortunate. We live in Quincy, Massachusetts, just south of Boston, and their elementary school, through no impetus of ours, does diversity and inclusion. It's all part of the Quincy school system, which is one of the largest cities in Massachusetts, and it was there. The platform was there, and we know a lot of other families, both lesbian families with children and gay families with children, and we're very fortunate that it's so progressive. So we do get out there, we do try to be visible, and fortunately we're in a community that fosters it.
That's a blessing, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great. I wish you all the best. It's really wonderful. Great to see you guys, like on the screen and in person here.
Thank you.
Would you mind passing the mic down to the row? Yeah, thank you.
A question for the director. What sparked the interest in this particular story or topic? What was the flame, the inspiration that triggered it all?
Could you explain me what she
Yeah.
wants to know?
So the idea to tell the story, I think I can probably answer, was when we were interviewing John and John,
Yes.
or John
Yes.
Lamb for Making of a Dream.
Yes.
But maybe talk about it.
Sorry, because I don't speak very well English, so I had to ask him. The idea came me when I get to know this wonderful family, when I was shooting another documentary. And I could see that I didn't know before that a gay family could be normal, as every family. It was at the beginning I was quite shocked to see how everything was functioning so well. And even better as when I remember myself with my children or friends with children, I had the feeling they handled everything so easy. I'm not sure if it's true, but
Thank you. It's a really beautiful film. I really enjoyed it. One more question. Can I find it online? Is it available online?
Yeah, so if you search through like Amazon's video portal, Papa and Dada, it's on this streaming site called Deco, but it's actually, you can link to it through Amazon. So if you just Papa and Dada film, it's there, it's available to stream. I think it's less than $10 for a stream.
Thank you.
And just to add to what Daniela said, I was working with her on this other documentary, and so the early footage that you saw, especially when Santino was nursing with a bottle, we were actually at their house to interview John Lamb about his dance career and how his dance career had sort of flourished as a grantee of the Ambrosoli Foundation. And we saw their family, and we were there, and we captured the story of how their family was created. And I believe that that was the moment when this, idea came to Daniela. And I mean, it's incredible to see the pieces come together, because it wasn't like a fully formed thing. Obviously, she had, ideas about things she wanted to bring in, the story of King and King, the animation, all that sort of stuff. But it was really just that story, and also from Swiss culture. And I don't want to speak for you necessarily, put words in your mouth. Switzerland, in some people's mind, may seem progressive, but I think they're only a year of actual acceptance of gay marriage. Like last July. So not even a year did they, legalize that. So there's a lot of, and I think Julia, you spoke to that too. Globally, especially throughout Europe, it's not as progressive as you might imagine. And surrogacy and adoption, a lot of the reason why, families who are gay partners have to go to Canada or seek out, these agencies in America is because of the legal situation. There's a lot also, I think, in Eastern Europe too, like in the Ukraine before the war and things like that, and Russia. But yeah, it's still a problem, and it's still, acceptance is not widespread, as you might imagine, being in our bubble here in relatively liberal Northeast. So.
Was this shot last year, this film?
No. This film was shot over. So the beginning scenes when Santino, you see Santino, over 8 years ago. That was in February of 2016. So yeah, it's been a very incredible journey. Thank you all for sharing in this. Any other questions? Yep.
How did you find the other family?
Wait for the.
Well, I can hear you. That one. How did you find the other families?
it was the help of John and John. Yes.
But not the Italian family, though. No. We found all the.
The Italian one. It was very lucky. I read on a magazine their story, and immediately I called them and asked if they would like to be part of the film, because it was so difficult for me as a Swiss person, European. It's strange to shoot in the States, but it was very difficult or even impossible to find couples in Europe. They would be part of this film. They are afraid about their job and all this. They are still ashamed. They live ashamed. Yes.
Any other questions?
I want to ask one last question.
Go ahead.
So you guys, you boys first, does this inspire you to become filmmakers or to do something creative as a result of being part of a film like this? And I want to ask, are you going to be performing in New York sometime with your dance?
I can answer you.
I already like taking pictures, but this inspires me a lot more because I really like it how they filmed it. It was really interesting to watch this whole thing for like an hour and 30 minutes to just see about my life that I totally forgot about. It was really interesting.
I particularly don't really like filming the way Santino does, but I like sports more and like soccer, football. I want to be a soccer player when I grow up, and I really like and inspire. My dad actually brought up soccer to me, and then I just thought it was just a regular sport, and then I just played along with it, and I loved it.
And are you going to be performing in New York?
So I am currently with Boston Ballet. I've been with them for 20 years. And I just announced my retirement with Boston Ballet. So I will be retiring from Boston Ballet as a principal dancer. But I will continue to be producing and curating my own works and entering as a professor with a Boston Conservatory at Berkeley. So may come to, I will be here actually in New York working on a project. Can't really talk about it right now. But I will be here for 3 months. And who knows, we'll see.
Thank you again, everyone, for coming out. Thank you for all your questions. We do have a dinner reservation to get to, so I'll say goodbye. I would be remiss if I didn't, during a family sort of talk like this, if I didn't thank my lovely wife, Heather, and also Frank Marcacci as well, Daniela's husband, who is also a producer on the film as well. Thank you all very much.